Today we will discuss what is flowchart, why we are using flowchart and how to make flowchart, and we will also discuss about the advantage and disadvantage of the flowchart. So a flowchart is a graphical representation to describe the sequence of steps and logic of solving a problem. A large number of programmers first make a flowchart of any problem, then write it in the programming language. Flowchart can be linked by blueprint of a building. As we know, architect first draw a blueprint of a building, after that start making building. Same as a programmer first make flowchart, after that write a code on it. Flowchart act like a roadmap for a programmer that guides him starting point to ending point while writing a program. It helps us to identify what are the input and output and limitation of our program. It also helpful in understanding the logic of complicated and lengthy problems. Flowchart has many standard symbols such as circle, diamond, rectangle and others. These symbols are connected by solid lines having arrow marks to indicate the flow of program. Generally, direction of flowcharts is top to bottom. If any bug occurs in our programs, it can be easily detected and corrected via flowchart. Flowchart is a very effective testing tool to test programs successfully.
Flowchart is a graphical representation of program. It has several symbols for the representation. We will discuss them one by one.
First symbol is terminal. Terminal symbol is used to indicate starting and ending point of a flowchart. It denoted as a circle, oval or rounded rectangle.
Input-output symbol. This symbol is used to read input data and display output of data. Suppose you are adding two numbers, then input-output symbol used to read those numbers and display output of addition two numbers. Input-output symbol denoted by parallelogram. Our next symbol is process symbol. A process symbol is used to perform arithmetic and logical operations on input data. Arithmetic operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, and logical operation is data movement instruction in which data moves from one memory location to another. In addition of two numbers program, for adding two number, arithmetic operation is performed in process block. It is denoted by a rectangular box.
Our next symbol is decision symbol. Decision symbol is used to take a decision for a given problem. In this box, we write some condition, basis on that decide the number of outgoing branches from the decision box. There are two-way, three-way and multi-way outgoing branches are possible. Suppose you are checking I equals to 10, so there are two outgoing branches, yes and no are possible. If condition true, flow goes to yes branch direction, otherwise goes to no branch direction. Another example, like compare A and B, there three branches are possible. A is greater than B, A is smaller than B and A is equal to B. Decision symbols are denoted by diamond box.
Our next symbol is flow lines. Flow lines indicate the exact flow in which the instructions are to be executed. It consists of solid line with arrowhead. Arrowhead shows the direction of flow. It can be left to right or top to bottom. Next is connector. This symbol is used when flowcharts become big and it may not fit in single page. If flowcharts are too big, then it is difficult to understand and flow lines start crossing each other at many places, causing confusion. Thus, whenever the flowchart becomes complex and spreads over a number of pages, connectors are used. A connector symbol is indicated by a circle.
There is not any fixed rule for constructing a flowchart, but following steps take as a guideline to ensure consistency and accuracy. Our first step is the beginning and ending of a flowchart is indicated using terminal symbol. Our second step, determine required input and output parameters. Next is symbol of the flow chart connected by a flow lines. Next step is determine the various computation and decision involved. Our fifth step is go from left to right and top to bottom in constructing the flow charts. Our next step is all symbols are connected top to bottom or right to left except decision symbol. Decision symbol has several branches that can be possible in any direction. Keep the flow chart as simple as possible. The crossing of the flowchart line should be avoided as far as possible. Our next step, if a new flowcharting page is needed, it is recommended that the flowchart be broken at an input or output point. Connector can be used to link the portion of the flowchart on different pages. Here we are taking some examples to easy to understand of flowcharts. So our first example is adding of two numbers by using flowcharts. So for that we have two numbers A and B. We add those numbers and print output. So the steps for adding of two numbers. First we have to start, after that read to input A and B, after that add them and store in S. After that print the output variable S as the result, and our last step is stop step.
A flowchart should give clear indication where problem solving flow starts and ends. In the example, oval shape is used to indicate start of a problem solving process and end of a process. Our main goal is to add two numbers. For that, first we identify numbers which we have to add. So, here A and B are those numbers. Reading their values indicated by parallelograms. Our next step is to add those numbers which is represented by rectangular box. Now, write the result of the addition by using parallelogram. Parallelogram is used for both reading and writing of a number. All symbols are connected using flow lines and the direction of flowchart is top to bottom. At last, we end flowchart by using an oval.
Prepare a flowchart to determine greatest number between A and B. First step is start a flowchart. Next step is read A and B. Third step is if A is greater than B, then print A, else print B. Last step is stop. Here, terminal symbol is used for start a flowchart, read A and B by using input output symbols, and diamond box is used to indicate conditions. If A is greater than B, two arrows are going out from the diamond box. If condition true, arrow goes to the yes direction and print A. Otherwise, it will go to no arrow direction and print B. So there are several types of flowcharts. So we are discussing here few of them. First is flowchart for computation, next is flowchart for decision making, and next is flowchart for loops, and last is predefined process. So flowchart for computation. Computer are used to perform many calculation at high speed. When you develop the program, it also involves several calculation. The general format of the flowcharting steps for computation is first read the data, second perform the calculation, and third is display output.
There is an example of flowcharts computation. Example: design a flowchart for a program that calculate area and circumference of a circle. Following step shows the calculation to find area and circumference. 1. Start. 2. Read input R. 3. Compute area and circumference. 4. Print area and circumference. 5. Stop. Here ovals are used to start and end of the flowcharts. As we know, the area of circle is pi r square and circumference is 2 pi r. For computing these two process, symbol is used. We can compute both area and circle in one box separating by comma, and we can also print both by using one input and output symbol.
Whenever we have to read or display or compute more than one values, so no need to write them in separate boxes. You can write them in a same box by separating commas. Our next is flowchart for decision making. So, computer is used to perform various types of analysis. The decision making symbol is used in flowchart to indicate it. Decision symbol perform test condition. If condition true, one branch goes towards yes step, and if condition false, another branch goes towards no step. More than two branches are also possible in decision symbol. Programming language are used several loops like if else loop, for loop, switch case, while loop and do while loop for performing decision in programs. Relational operator and logical operator are available for implementing the decision test. So now question is how we can define those loops in a flowchart. So we will see that in next step.
Flowchart for if else loop. Example: draw a flowchart to check which number is first greatest among A, B and C. If we are making program of above problem, we have to use nested if else loop. For making flowchart, we have to use multiple decision symbols for giving if else condition. The steps involved in this process are: 1. Start, 2. Read A, B and C. We used one input and output symbols for all three inputs and separate them by comma. 3. First check condition is A is greater than B by using decision symbol. If condition is true, branch goes towards yes step. Here another decision symbol is for another condition, which is A is greater than C. If condition is true, print A by using process symbol, and if condition is false, print C because C is greater. 4. If above condition false, branch goes toward no step. Another decision box is there that checks B is greater than C. If condition is true, that means B is greatest and print B. 5. If B is greater than C, condition is false, then C is greatest and print C. 6. At last, all branches are connected by the stop symbol.
Next is for loop. Loops are used to handle repetitive statement in the program. There are two types of for loops. First is fixed loop, where the operation are repeated a fixed number of time. Second is variable loop. The operation are repeated until a specific condition is met. The loop process in general includes: first is setting and initialize a counter variable, second testing the condition, third increment the variable, and fourth execution of operation. The test could either be to determine whether the loop has executed the specified number of times or whether a specified condition has been met.
There is an example to find the sum of first n numbers. This example illustrates the use of a loop for a specific number of times. Steps for flowcharts are: 1. Start, 2. Create variable sum, comma n and I, 3. Read n, 4. Initialize sum and I to 0, 5. Calculate the sum by using formula sum is equals to sum plus I, 6. Increment variable I by 1, 7. check condition I is less than n. If condition is true, go to step 5. If condition is false, print sum. 10. Stop. Same as we can define while loop and do while loop. Now, next question is how to define switch case in a flowchart. Here we are taking a switch case program in which we take 3 cases A, B and C, converting this program into a flowchart.
First we define a variable discount and character code equals to B, and after that we are starting switch case. If case 1 is true, so discount print 0.0 and after that break. If case B is true, so our discount print 0.1. If case C is true, so discount print 0.2, and if no case is true, then by default discount print 0.3, and at last we are printing discount. So when we convert our program into a flowchart, so following steps are follow. First is start, second is read code, and third step is by using decision symbol we check if case A is true, then print discount of case A. If case A is false, then flow goes to the case B decision symbol. 3 box symbol are used to write case A, B and C. If case B true, then print discount of B. If it is false, then flow goes toward case C decision box. If case C is true, then print discount of C, otherwise print default value, and at last stop all the processes. Now we will discuss about advantage of flowchart.
Efficient coding. Flowchart acts like a roadmap for a programmer which guides programmer from the starting point of the program to ending point of the program.
Once flowchart ready, after that it is very easy to write code for that problem. Second advantage is systematic debugging. When a programmer write a program, some errors in programs remains because the designer might have never thought about a particular case. These errors are detected only when we start executing a program on a computer. So a flowchart helpful in detecting and correcting bugs in a program. Third advantage is systematic testing. Testing is the process of confirming whether a program will successfully do all the job for which it has been designed. So flowchart is helpful in testing. Next is effective joining of a part of a system. In a large software designing, each programmer is responsible to develop a part of an entire system. If each programmer design the flowchart of his part, then the flowchart of all the programmers can be placed together to visualize the overall system designing. Last option is convey better meaning. Flowchart is a pictorial representation of a program. It is easier for a programmer to understand and explain the logic of the program to some other programmers.
It takes more time to draw. Drawing flowcharts is a very time consuming process. Flowcharts draw with proper symbol and proper sequencing. Difficult to make changes. Any changes or modifications in the program logic will usually require a completely new flowchart. Redrawing a flowchart is tedious process. Non-standardization. There are no standards determining the amount of detail that should be included in a flowchart.
In this module, we learned how to make flowchart for a given problem. Flowchart is a graphical representation to describe complex problem.
Every programmer designs flowchart before writing code of any problem. Flowchart uses various shapes like oval, circle, parallelogram, rectangle and diamond. These all are connected by flow lines. Flowcharts are helpful to write program and to understand detection and correction of errors.
We have seen how we can write loops in a flowchart and take decision on the basis of condition true and false. Thank you.